Hi, today we're going to take a look at a old filler game called For Sale, and I have one of the, I don't know if this is the earlier version, but there's definitely a new one that's out, and the rules change just a little bit, and I'll explain a little bit later. But let's take a look at For Sale. It's a great filler game about buying and selling real estate. In this case, you are buying and selling houses for as much money as you can. So let's take a look at what's inside. You get 2 decks of cards. One deck of cards is actually houses that you can purchase, and the second deck is checks or amount of money that you can sell it for. And it comes in 2 different phases. We got the auction phase, and we have the selling phase. Okay, it also comes with little pieces of chips here, or papered cardboard denominations of 1,000 and 2,000. So let me quickly set up a 3-player game. All right, everyone's going to get a certain amount of money, all right, all being the same amount, but I'm just going to randomly grab a pile from each. And depending on the number of players, you're going to start off with a different amount. You're going to shuffle your deck of cards. You're going to shuffle your number of auction houses over here. And again, depending on the number of players, some of these cards might be removed. Let me quickly go over what's in this deck. You do have 30 different cards, each card representing a different real estate or house that you can live in. The lower the number, the worse the conditions are. Here, number 4 you see is the dog house. 13 gets a little better with a house on an island with I guess a big giant octopus in the back. And if you go to the 20s, you get nicer houses. You get a big Victorian house over here, another house by the beach, all the way up to the highest value or best house you can get. It's number 30, which is living out in space. That's luxury living. Okay, so all these cards you can get shuffled, and depending on the number of players, you're going to flip over a number of cards equal to the amount of players. In this case, 3. We have the left player, right player, and the middle player. Okay. So we flip over the cards. We have 26, 22, and 14. Players will be bidding for the highest value, highest number house out of the 3. In this case, it's a 26. The winner will always get the highest value. Okay, so let's start off. Let's say left player over here starts off the bid. They can start off the bid in any amount, or even pass and not bid. But let's just say left player starts with 2,000. 2,000 for the 26. Player on the right can either increase or bid more than 2,000 or pass. Player 3 decides to increase the bid and make it 4,000. Player on the bottom here in the middle decides to go, let's say, let me see, 5,000. Okay. Now player on the left, well, thinks it might be too much, so instead player on the left decides to pass. When you pass, 2 things happen. You automatically get the lowest number that's available out of the 3 cards here, in this case 14. So player on the left will get number 14 house, which is a trailer. And player on the left discards half of the previous bid. So the previous bid was 2,000. Half of that is 1,000. So half of that goes to the bank, and he keeps half of that to himself for later in the future bidding. Now the round still continues. Back to player on the right to bid either more or pass than 5,000. So let's say player on the left, on the right decides to bid more, 6,000. Player on the middle over here decides 6,000 too much. Let me just pass. So when you pass, you discard half your bids. In this case, it's an odd number. When it's an odd number, you actually keep the benefit of the odd number. So in this case, you will keep 3,000, give 2,000 to the bank, and take the lowest number card, which is 22. So you pay 2,000 for 22. while the winner of the bid, 6,000, has to pay everything to the bank and takes the 26. Okay. Then a new round continues. It was with 3 new building cards or house cards. The winner of the last auction begins to bid, which is the right player. The round continues for until we exhausted this deck of cards. Alright, it continues to go around until everyone gets a house. And by the end of your turn, you should have a good amount of houses, anywhere from very little, I think 5 houses, to as much as like 8, 9, or 10, right? Unless you have a deck of cards, which is houses. Before we get into the next phase, I do want to elaborate on one rule, and that's about discarding half your bids. In the version I have, when you discard half your bid by passing, you give the lesser half to the bank and keep the greater half. In the newer revised version, which I've seen in someone's rule book, it's the reverse. So you actually give the greater half to the bank, the 3 to the bank, and keep 2 for yourself. Okay. So depending on which version you have, you can play by whichever rule, or if you decide to just put in your own house rule. Okay. So at the end of phase 1, everyone's going to have a bunch of houses over here, and most of your money would be gone. But if you do have any chips left or any money left, you're going to use that amount of money, keep it on the side, and you're going to add it to your total towards the end of phase 2. Phase 2. Okay, phase 2, we're going to be selling the houses for as much money as we can. I'm going to shuffle this deck, and because there's 3 players, I'm going to face up 3 checks that's randomly shuffled and dealt out. We have 10,000, 15, and another 15. Player is going to secretly look at their deck of cards and choose a number to place down to sell the house for. So for example, let's choose 17, and I'm going to put it down. Everyone's simultaneously going to take a card also and place it down. So the left player place a card down there, and the right player is going to place a card down here also. Everyone opens when the time is ready. So we see that 25, 6, and 17. The person with the highest value house, 25, takes the highest value check there is. Okay, there's a tide here, so it just takes one of the 15s. So the 15 goes to 25. I have 17, so I take the next highest check. In this case, the same, 15. And the person with the lowest number will take the lowest check, 10. All right, and then we start a new round again, where we have 3 new checks for selling. Everyone's going to randomly choose a number. I mean, not randomly. They're going to secretly look at their deck of cards and choose a number and place it down and try to win the checks. At the end of this phase, you're going to have a good amount of checks in your hand, shown here. You're going to add up the total, 9,000 plus 2,000 plus all these checks. You're going to add up this total. Add up any extra money you have left over from phase 1, the auction round, and that'll be your total amount of money you have for the game. Everyone announce how much money they have made, and the person with the highest amount is the winner. And that's the game for sale. A nice short filler.